looks like we're alive and well. In spite of very little sleep. And believe me, I tried to go to sleep. It just didn't happen. Handy parts my way and ashes. Handy parts got in with the kill on the first claim. You get one free internet with that. Hey, MacVision. Yeah, Greg. Staggering back. The magpies sort of put an end to my dreams of having much sleep. And then I just sort of flip-flopped for a couple of hours before I thought, no, let's stop it. Let's try again tomorrow. And I thought I'd just get up and get on with the day. Anyway, the hinges are set, so at least that's something I can get to. And I've got a water damaged iPhone 6S to deal with shortly thereafter. You're up here. Sleep is a bit of a rare commodity for me, particularly during summer. I make up for it during the winter. Alright, you're good. Oh, that's right, yeah, we already knew the hard drive and this one was dead. So I'm just testing another hard drive, second-hand one, to see if it will do the job. I'm sure it will. It better. Hey, on Alexandra. Hey, Trinity. Handy parts. Well, there's nothing too dramatic to see in the previous one, other than me making plenty of mistakes. And right now I am questioning as to what I did with the screws for this laptop. What did I do with the screws? Ah, found them. It's a good thing I'm working on things that I can sort of take the risk of working on. Because I'm still kind of half asleep here. Let's see. Maybe a short screw. What? Say what now? Looks like we've got a special one here. There we go, got it. Yeah, more iPhones. Hey, Brandon. I was just saying to some people the other day that I generally have a preference really for working on MacBooks and PC, laptop type situations, but it's just the way of the market that I'm mostly exposed to iPhones around here. So maybe I should go to the doctors and get that checked out. I'm not sure if all that iPhone exposure is good for me. Let's see. I just realized last night when I finished up and I was complaining that the touch on the bottom of the 6 Plus, how it was a little bit funny down there. I realised it's a 6 Plus, and this hasn't had a Mason change on it, so that's probably what it is. That's actually probably my first touch disease phone. Yeah, fixing things. Well, I'm a zombie as well. I'm just a slightly more animated one. I've had a coffee, so. Greg, the GNU DD Rescue, I think, is the same one as what they use. It's just that it's the up-to-date version. There was another DD Rescue tool that came out around about the same time, but I found they haven't really kept it up to date. So it was just a classic case of two products coming out with similar purposes and similar names. And so the one being done by Antonio is known as GNU, or New DD Rescue, or I just call it DD Rescue. That's the one that everyone generally refers to. The other one seems to just have become a dead project now, so I'm fairly sure the one that comes with Sys Rescue is the GNU one, but it's an earlier version, so 119 or something like that. Excuse me. Yeah, I just realised I've JB welded those endpoints in there before. At least I can reassemble this without... Oh look, we've got an ant there, come on. Bloody hell. Fine, you can die with this laptop. Joy of living in a warm environment. So many damn bugs. The only way you can avoid the bugs is to have a very well sealed building. No. I suppose I better put some replacement tape there. The other thing, Greg, is with the latest versions of DD Rescue, there's obviously more features. It has better algorithms for how it handles the searching and the failures and the jumping and things like that. Cat hair. That actually isn't. That's not my cat hair either. That was a tabby cat hair. These screws that they use to hold down the keyboard, they're an obscure pitch, and you can't get replaced. Well, put it this way, there aren't really any easily accessible replacements for them, other than stealing from another laptop. I don't know why they're different. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't just... Yeah, some of the 4x4. But it's very annoying with the keyboard hold down screws. Let's plug in... I don't know why I bother with this. These are old modems. Back in the days of dial-up. Certainly don't need any more. Thank God for that. At least not in this country. But I suppose it's the right thing to do, to put it back where it came from. Does it stay warm in Queensland year round? Pretty much, or at least certainly up in the area that I am in. Because I'm about 1,200 kilometres north of Brisbane. So I'm above the Tropic of Capricorn in terms of latitude. During the winter up here, if it's a brutal winter, we will maybe get down to 3 or 4 degrees centigrade. Normal, well, I should rather say that's normal. Brutal is we may approach 1 or 2. And that lasts, it's pleasant weather in spring and autumn. Although we're just coming to the end of autumn, obviously. And it's already starting to get pretty hot. But yeah, if you really hate the cold, then this is the sort of area you want to be in, but you better be prepared to take the heat too. Because right now we're already hitting 40 around places here. And we haven't even officially entered summer yet, obviously. If you do have the opportunity to build a house in this area, you most definitely want to do smart things like good insulation. Although it's not popular around here, you really do want to have double glazed windows. I don't know why people don't get it. Even just a standard air gap double glazed, it saves so much power. But instead you get people building single skin wall brick houses. It's ridiculous. Traditionally the houses around here are those high set wooden, very open type houses, so that you maximize the airflow going through and you minimize the amount of retained heat in the structure. Something this house fails with spectacularly. Memory bay. Thank goodness I can do these blind. I just realised I've probably got a customer turning up at some point, so I better bring up my security footage for myself. Alright, now I can see what's going on outside. -3, that would actually be quite nice, quite bracing. But of course, you know, when you get to -50 and things like that, it's a little bit too much. 19 in Victoria, Australia. I'd say Victoria is more... Victoria, Tasmania or New Zealand. I believe those are the locations that I should truly be spending my time. The weather seems to be more along what I consider to be acceptable. Let's see, get my boot stick. Have you seen the what that Case has done? Martin, I'm not exactly sure what you've written there. Is there something going on over in the States? I haven't even checked the news yet today. Oh man, this thing's been through hell. Oh jeez. So something really has gone on overseas. Okay, bring up. Oh jeez. 8 dead after Ute plows through Crown Manhattan terror attack. I suppose the only upside there is that I don't believe Lewis rides a bike. I mean, that doesn't help those people that have been killed. Chuck Clark, upper left, yeah, that's the microscope. It's just not currently in use, but I don't bother to shut it down. It'll come in use soon enough. Alright. I do not have the letter S. I do now. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Oh well. I have a feeling this keyboard is maybe not sitting right. I'll have a look at it. Maybe it's just needing more force than usual. Yeah, I'm just running it through a burn program. Oh man. Well, it wasn't a bug that time. Yeah, that's still running a bit warm. It's better than it was. It was pushing 100 degrees before. Brandon, it shouldn't be input lag, not on this particular one. I think it just may not be sitting right. Clean up this keyboard a bit while I'm here. So this laptop has a GPU built into it, so it does tend to run a fair bit hotter when I push it. Let's yeah, that's actually the wrong mix. No, I've run out of my preferred mix. Yep. Need to go make up some more. The isopropylene that I buy is 99.9%. But for cleaning off things like this sort of keyboard scum, you do need a bit of a water component in it. It just helps pick up the dirt from humans. Where is my... There it is. Is vehicle running higher than usual? No, it's just now I'm hitting 100 already. It probably means I need to look at repasting that. It's just the cores that are running higher. It's blowing pretty hot. I do remember when this one's always was a very hot runner. It immediately drops down to 60 odd degrees as soon as I stop. So I think it's alright. I think it's just a hot runner. The keyboard's just messed up on that. Not my connection. Anyways, so now I can use my water and does a pretty good job of cleaning the scum off. So I always prefer a machine with a dedicated GPU. I'm somewhat the opposite, and one of my customers here. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Let's see. Hey, Cryjo. Just realised you'd turned up. That wasn't the customer I was expecting, but no biggie. That was unfortunately a failed hard drive attempt recovery. Huh? It was a situation where unfortunately DD Rescue started out recovering around about 64k bit per second, not bytes, k bit. And it never really got much better than that. And it was a gamble situation where I sort of decided, well, do I let the drive chew itself out, trying to get the data off, or do I try and improve the firmware? Cause it was the particular drive has a known firmware issue that causes extremely slow transfers once it picks up a bad sector or so. And I thought maybe that was causing it. Unfortunately, my judgment call was wrong, which is I wasn't happy about. My goodness, what is this stuff that's on the screen? It's like, do people sneeze ectoplasm or something onto these? Maybe bad enough that I will have to go and get a detergent to get it off. If alcohol and water won't get the stuff off, then yeah, detergent's my next choice. Not a lot of detergent, like we're talking I wouldn't put more than a drop or half a drop in that quantity of water. It's just enough to cut through the... anyway. We'll put this aside for now, because we're waiting on the hard drive testing to finish. The testing is for me to find a replacement drive that I can put into this. So I'll put that aside for now. Should have gloves, I agree. Don't worry, I'm touching the nose with the back of my hand. Hey RTC. Porn residue. Oh, don't even make me think about that. Now, this one I genuinely do need to put gloves on for. I mean, putting gloves on for the other one was also genuine, but yeah. Okay. This is because it's water damaged. The person didn't explicitly define what they meant by water damage. This probably will not be a successful recovery of any sort or repair, because it happened a couple of days ago and I told them to get it to me as soon as they could, like straight away. And this was after hours, and I still said, yeah, bring it around. But they didn't. This one has been cooking in rice. Oh geez, I need a blimmin' haircut. Getting grey hairs all in my face. Needs a surfactant. Yes, it does. I actually know what that is. Yay, university chemistry. Mind you, they probably teach that in high school chemistry these days. I suppose it depends on where you go. this one fortunately has been open before, so I don't have to break the 6S bead. There we go. Yep, this is one of my own. What the hell? Well, not only has it been water damage, it looks like it's been dropped at some point. Grey Nomad Club, Aussie Buzz. Alright. Just realised the zoom out on that's pretty bad. Come to. Let's see if we can come in on that. Wrong one. Oh, hey. Just give me a second. We're back on air. Oh, but yeah, as I was saying, I think this one's been dropped because I've got the screw from up here down there, so it's rattled out. I find the rattled out screws can be quite a bit of trouble at times because of the way that they often can get jammed between the screen and the battery, and then the people starts biting through the LiPo pack, and then it just puffs up. If you're lucky, it just puffs up. If you're not lucky, you get a bit of an iPhone Yule log. And we've got another screw here, and that looks like it's come from... How the hell did they manage that? We've got another missing screw, and it's from up here. That's crazy. It was actually from the frame edge. I don't know how they managed that. Yeah, well, now the watermark is off, obviously. Oh god, yeah, this one's a disaster. Alright, let's bring in the... Go for the number one cut. My wife would kill me. She won't even let me have my beard less than a 5. Okay, microscope primary. Let's have a look at the carnage. Wow, I've actually got some red color in there in the middle too. That's unique. Okay, I'm just going to change the focus. Yeah, hopefully that's pretty good for you guys. So, as you can see, we've got this weird red coloration in the middle there. Put some alcohol down there, trying to help lift that spongy stuff up. Well, it's missed the camera. So what's happened? This will take that camera up, give us better access. Ah, there we go. There's some... Oh no, I'm an idiot. This is obviously had the dock replaced at some point then. Looks like another person at the door. I'll be back. Sorry about that. Hey, did I lose the stream? Is the stream gone dead? We're alive. everybody's gone quiet. Fair enough. Another iPhone 6 to fix. 6S actually. Poor person had a heart attack though when they heard the price. A lot of people are used to cheap screens, whereas I'm only using refurb screens. And refurb screens are about twice the price of the cheap ones. Oh good, you're still here. So it tends to shock people a little bit. Some of them will ask if I can do cheaper screens and I'm like, nope. It's pretty much a false economy trying to go for cheaper screens, because they almost always come back. Geez, that's a good whack of overfill there. I wonder how bad this is. Ah, little bastard. I still need to get myself a little offset for this workbench so I can put objects like this on it and lift it up slightly so I can get a better zoom in. I'm just scrub that down a bit with the toothbrush that I keep losing. Sort of hoping maybe I can get away with, at least for the sake of doing data recovery. I just realised I didn't leave me with a pin code. God damn it. I've got all their Apple ID information, I don't have their pin code. You've become detached. The reason why I use a shaved off bamboo toothpick is it's just a little less invasive than a pair of tweezers. I can sort of go at it a little bit harder. I mean, not really going at it hard, but yeah, it's got more margin of error in terms of user error, particularly considering I'm a bit of a zombie today. Actually, maybe that's just have to make sure I flush out all the fibers. Flea market prices, yeah. For some, I suppose there's a bit of a shock factor to that. They're used to prior players in the market pricing a certain way, and then they've got to deal with me saying, "No, I'm not gonna do the budget screens. I'm sorry." Yeah, at this point, I'm the only person in town doing these repairs, at least commercially. I know there's a bunch of kids doing it at school. Well, at least I suspect they are, because every now and then I do get a few "my friend fix this" type phones. Phone in a bag, that's always fun. I mean, don't get me wrong, yeah, that one's gone. That one wants to go. So those two pins there need to be touched up. That's going to be fun because all this overfill's in the way. Mr. Shruggins, I've been meaning to actually reply to your messages. I noticed them a couple of days ago when I was in YouTube. I don't normally go into the YouTube message section, so I do apologise. I noticed the date on them was quite a while ago now. So we'll get that up. I'm trying to see whether I can. Just want to give myself a little bit of room here. I'm fairly sure my hacker tip's not going to get down there too easy. Just double check. Yeah, it's going to be a close call. Hey Joshua, life tends to get in the way of things. It certainly does. I concur. It's like I haven't even tested this phone to see whether it's got any hope at all, but I'm suspect it. Yeah, I don't even know what's on the other side of that board yet. I'm just using this hot air to... Yeah, no, there's a battery there. No one needs to tell me that. I'm the one living next to it. The heat's very low on this though. Okay, that should be enough. But I'm certainly no expert on iPhones. I feel a lot more comfortable working on MacBooks and PCs. But you gotta go with what you got on hand. Geez, you're gonna be a real pain in the butt to get into. Alright. Flux. Starrett picks are also a good tool. I don't know what a Starrett pick is. I'll have to look that one up. Yeah, this is where the micro pencil probably could be useful. I'm having a hard time getting down into that. Yep, way too hard. Alright, someone's going to start screaming now as I do this. Pretty amusing to watch. I don't know if you guys can see it, but so watching a cloud of confetti flying around in the alcohol as it moves around. Oh, come on, shush. There we go. It wouldn't be so bad if I could actually get get the solder down there. Let's see, we can use the solder paste technique. take it. Ah! Hot air into the eyeball. Good thing it was only at 180. Else I'd be in some serious trouble then. Honestly, I'm like a walking disaster right now. Alright, take care, Mr. Schwaggins. Appreciate you dropping it. Alright, we actually had some success there by the looks of it. Alright, looks like we've secured those, so that's good. Now I've got to try and clear out my mess. I mean, the balls themselves shouldn't really cause a lot of trouble because individually they're too small to cause a bridge. Like I said, we don't even know what's actually on the other side of the board yet. But at least they are secure so that should I go ahead, everything else there looks good. It was most of those two that were the problem. Alright. Half of me is tempted to just fire it up now, but I'll be honest and say I probably should be the mature and responsible technician. Take it out and check the bottom first. It's so boring doing it that way. No, just kidding, it's not. I'd rather that slight bit of delay and boredom than going a little bit too hasty and lose all chances. What are you for? Great. I don't even know what one of those screws are for. Sure, I'll find it. I'd love to know what Apple's engineering reasons were. Oops. I can't even get the screwdriver into the hole properly at the moment. I'd love to know Apple Engineering's reasoning behind the way they've multi-layered this assembly over here. Am I zoom out again? No, it's just this top left-hand antenna type area. It's 4 different layers that you have to deal with. I suppose it depends on how you split the layers. Some could say 2. It's annoying, that's all that I do. I have to say, these tweezers have become definitely my preferred style of tweezer. I ran through a whole different set of types, and eventually I've found that they work best with who I am. I think it's also an important thing to be aware of when it comes to this sort of work, is that everybody is going to have their preferred techniques or tools and things like that, which suit the way they do things or suit who they are. So even though something works really well for one person, another person might sort of find that it just isn't for them. So don't be too dismayed if you pick up a tool that everyone else sort of says, hey, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and you're kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like moldy bread to me. It happens. Oh, man. And unfortunately, through the process of learning that, you usually spend a fair bit of money. Okay, that's out. Oh, yeah. So we've gotten lucky, and wait, no, there is a bit down here. Looks like we'll have to do a pull back and reveal. There, you have to find out what works for you. I mean, it's good to have a initial guideline, sort of, an idea, so that you can at least have half a chance of success. But after that, it does tend to fall back onto you to make a assessment. Well, given that there's watermark there, I guess I'm going to have to lift that. Thankfully it looks clear so far. Yeah, I've got to say, we may have gotten very lucky here. There's really nothing down at the bottom end here, it's all up the top. And I'm very happy to see that there's nothing under there. No, that looks clean. I think we've got a little bit of junk over here that should work on. Give that a bit of a scrub. Scrub-a-dub-dub. Yabba-dub-dub. Alright. Let me have a look at this chassis. Can I risk it? Give it a whirl. We'll put a different screen on because the customer screen is not really in the best of shape. I mean, yeah, that looks like something out of a horror movie. I wouldn't even try. Yeah, fixing things. It's water damaged. Okay, and it's been sauteing in rice for a couple of days because yeah, that's the correct way of doing things. Gotta get that delicious flavor. Okay. I've got a spare screen around here somewhere for the 6S. You look beaten to hell. You might work. If the home button didn't get any damage. And by damage I just mean indirectly. Like with the flex being that, I'm not sure, is that the flex that the home button comes in on? Doesn't matter. Just realised I really almost made a small mistake there. I should really put this on the DC power supply so I can monitor what's going on. Well, no current drain. Okay, we've got boot. I think I've got a crappy screen here. Crappy screen, or I've still got connector issues. Find a better screen. What about you? Are you interested? Do you want to come to the party? What about you? It's okay, the power supply is off. Yeah, it looks like I've got more work to do on that connector. It's not a happy screen. There could be pins broken on the inside that I'm not... I should really... Well, it is booting. What the hell's wrong with this touch? Some buttons all dead. No. Alright. That's gonna be interesting. Let's check those individual pins again, see if we've got any loose ones. It's got a couple of blackened pinheads there. And there too. Now at this point I should be checking ZXW or the schematic to find out which, if the home button comes through on this connector or not. I don't recall. Anyone off the top of their head know if if the home button comes through this one? Ideally I'd just replace the whole connector, but that's probably... I'm sort of worried about a risk trade-off situation. It's a smaller one. Alright, thank you fixing things. I appreciate that. Could be that maybe the screen I tested simply had a bad home button on it. Well, those pins are definitely solid. I could run a fiberglass brush through this, but I really don't want to. And fiberglass brushes can be really convenient on large size connectors, But on this stuff I find that it only takes one pass, maybe two, and you've gouged the gold plating right off these connectors, and that's not a good thing. Check with another screen, yeah, I think I might try that. Yeah, this button actually is... yeah, that button's janky. Thank you, Jessa Jones. If you ever see this video, if you ever manage to persist this far into it, never before use the word janky until after watching your videos. Well, now, everything's janky. This is janky, that is janky. Anyway. Somewhat disinclined to use a brand new screen on this thing. See if I can find another contributor to the cause. Try this one. I typically hold on to the screens that I've pulled from customer machines for a couple of weeks at least. And then, depending on the quality of them, I either obviously refurbish them or throw them in the trash. I find it convenient to hold on to them like that, because if a customer comes back and sort of says, hey, this was working fine before you changed anything, and if I've got their equipment here, their old one, I can check to see if they are right or whether they're just telling porkies. Oh, that's a completely fucked screen. Fine, I'm just gonna have to use a new one. Since that one's janky, that can go in the trash. This is a brand new refurb. Alright, we're looking stable. Oh, hooky. Yeah, I like janky more. Hooky seems... I don't know. It's a good word to use, but I'm not sure if it's the right one for me to use. Press home to open. Brilliant. Guess who doesn't have assistive touch on here? Well, it's working, so... Oops. I'm gonna turn it off at this point. Notify the customer. I need their passcode. And I've just realised that they're working through a different system with that ticket. Crap. Okay. So I've got to get the data off. But the phone itself, I'm going to classify that as a... It's a bit extreme of me, but I am going to classify that as a write-off. I just don't... I just don't want that risk. Like I said, it is a bit extreme. I mean, the damage wasn't really severe. But you only have to get burned a couple of times. And you only need someone to get stuck in the middle of the outback and go to use their phone, only to find that all of a sudden that because of the water damage that you said was all okay and fixed, that they've got significantly reduced signal strength, and they can't quite reach emergency services or something, and yeah, then you're up the creek. So yeah, I don't really care to take that risk. The person's already bought another phone anyway, so it's... yeah. Oh, god damn it. I'll get that out later. Retry the old screen. Oh no, you mean the one that I thought might have been good. This one here is the one I thought might have worked because it is a original pull, but I've just noticed now that this has junk on it. It's surprising how well you can see dud pins from afar without having a microscope, because being able to see the details of why they aren't so good is the next trick. So there we go. Yeah, oh shit, that's really bad. Yeah, no wonder I had troubles with that one. That there, I would probably consider fixing up. Just for the hell of it. This isn't going to a customer or anything like that. This is just one of my sit-in screens. There's probably damage that creeps in further under the connector. Not under the connector. Under here, under this plastic. That I can't seem to get off. Oh well. One of them is probably not making an ideal connection. Well, I guess the question is, should I hot air that off and put a nice new replacement on, or really you got to wonder why? I mean, these screens cost me about $50 a piece. So it's... That one there is the troublemaker. Mind you, that one doesn't look so great either. Ah, you bastard. They're better than what it was. Question is, will it be good enough? Okay. I really need to get the muffler for... Need to make a new case for this ventilating fume hood. Well, we'll give it a quick shot. Fortunately, with this particular person, with this data recovery, I've already got their contacts off from the iCloud. They just don't have photos. Minor things like that. I found around here that contacts are the big thing to have. So thankfully, with iCloud's default behavior, it seems to save the contacts, it does make things less traumatic for a lot of people. What are we looking at? Yeah, it looks like we're good. So it was just dodgy connection. Oh, I hate that iOS 11 flash. Every time my eye catches it, my heart skips a beat. Okay, we're good. Okay, we're all good there. Oh, I just realised I don't need a pin code. This can go straight to data recovery. Cool. Where's my... Okay, there is one risk here. I'm going to shut that off. Something that a lot of people maybe don't notice but should be aware of is that the laptop that this is connected to has its own power brick and its own virtual ground plane. This power supply has its own virtual ground plane as well. Now when you try and bring the two together, they can be offset by a few thousand volts. Even if you're on the same power board, it still can be a few thousand volts out. So when you connect it, you get a spark, and that's not really a good thing. And that's why generally with multimeters, you prefer the multimeters to be battery powered, particularly if they're talking to a PC or something like that. It gives that isolation factor. So I really don't want to run this phone off the power supply while I do data recovery. I mean, it's me being pedantic. I tend to be a bit of a funny chap when it comes to different types of pedanticness. Some things I am, some things I'm not. So I just realised 1st November. Okay, let's see if we can add a window here. Window capture. So as such, I'm going to run this off the battery. So that. And that's when we find out the battery is flat. Oh, God. Better get a better charger for it in that case. Oh, well, I'm gonna... It's lunchtime's up. I need to go get a coffee and everything. So we know we've got things going there. So I think I'll leave it. We obviously, in this case, got lucky. It was only needing a bit of a cleanup on the connector. But, like I said, I still won't warrant it for everyday use. I mean, I'll give it back to the person and say, well, you know, it works for now, but do not, and I'll get them to sign a disclaimer to say that, you know, there's no, I haven't implied any sort of warranty with its functionality. Is it me or has Apple pushed out a heck of a lot of updates with iOS 11, especially, yeah, I think they made a lot of botch ups, probably rushing too much. I mean, it happens. Usually if you make one mistake, you've probably got another 3 or 4 coming quickly behind. Does that mean your power supply is floating? Well, relatively speaking, they all kind of are. They have floating grounds. They're all the grounds are different until you tie them together, which is why you'll find on a lot of industrial equipment or lab equipment, things like that, on the back of the chassis, you'll find there's a grounding lug, and so you can tie everything together so that you don't get these different voltages. In the old, well, I shouldn't say old days, but previously when I'd say do printer installations or serial port installations across campuses, often when you would go and plug the serial port into the machine, if it was live, you would get this electrical drilling going through your finger or whatever as you're holding it, bringing it in together because of the ground differences being equalized. So yeah, so anyway, so that's why we have preferably battery powered multimeters, or you have transformer based power supplies which provide you with good isolation and lets it float up and down. Yeah, as CryJ says, the grounding straps, it just sort of helps eliminate these problems. It's easy for equipment in different rooms to be several thousand volts apart in terms of their grounds. So DC is much easier, but with AC, yeah, it's a little bit crazy. So yeah, it's just one thing I prefer not to take a risk with. So if I can have a battery power charge or whatever while I'm working on the computer, then that's great. Which is why if you can get those portable power banks, they're really good too, because they will not you won't have a contention then between things. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that before I make too many more mistakes in my explanations there. But I appreciate you all sticking around and watching the zombie struggle through the morning after a couple of hours sleep. I'm glad we had at least success with getting this data. And that laptop, once the 500 gig hard drive is tested and clear, I'll transfer things back across and it should be good to go out the door later this afternoon. So anyway, until next time, you all take care and I'll catch you later.